I wish you all the best, especially for the people watching this hot when it comes out. I hope you do well on the exam tomorrow, and to all the future people, I hope that this helps you out and that you're not in a last minute crunch right now. Okay, so I will see you. Okay, hey everybody, it's CSEC Panda, and as you can see from the title, I'm showing you a paper 3. This is the one from January 2021, and we're going to run through it. Alright, so the facts about this paper, it's worth 50 marks, it's 7 questions. The style of it is that they give you this case study, which I'm going to let you pause and read, and then they ask you these 7 questions about it, right? It's basically like doing paper 2, but this one is intended to test your reasoning a little bit more. This is for private candidates only and replaces the SBA. Okay, so if you pause and read this case study, we can get going. Alright, so the questions on it now are continuing. We see that we have this vegetarian roti shop, and now they're going to ask us a bunch of office admin related questions about it. So the first question is, can you write a suitable slogan for this business, S&K Roti? So I came up with, we don't need meat to make roti a treat. Simple. It's probably the easiest 2 marks you can collect on this, right? Okay, question 2, which you can pause and read. Yeah. Okay, so they want to know if you can draft an advertisement for the position of accounts clerk using the following guidelines. So you see all of these things here, and if you've ever read a job offer anywhere in the newspaper or anything, you kind of know how that sounds. So using the voice that I know from just reading these things around, I constructed this. And in the original question, they had kind of like a guideline, so like how they had introduction here. It continued with like introduction, required qualifications, thing. So it was like an outline on these lines for you to fill out. But anyway, point is, this is the response that I wrote. Job opportunity, vegetarian, roti restaurant, S&K Roti is now seeking suitable candidate for the position of accounts clerk. The desired candidate should have 5 CSEC passes, including mathematics, English, and principles of accounting. This role offers a starting salary of $1,600. The functions expected of the successful applicant include assisting with payroll, performing general bookkeeping, and helping with credit control. The desired person for this role should be honest and conscientious. Alright, if you meet the above criteria and feel that you have or would be a good fit for this position, then please send your application to the email address that they gave in the question. The deadline for submissions, the 29th of January. That should be 2021 if I was following the date of this paper, but okay. That's a typo. And we look forward to hearing from you. So that was 9 marks. All surrounding this, write an advertisement for this accounts clerk position. So I think that the flow of this sounded alright. I think probably the things that they were testing you on was being able to remember these functions of the accounts clerk. So that's where that sort of knowledge would come in. Alright, so let's move on. Part B of this question says, as you can see, the advertisement is to be published in the local newspaper for 2 consecutive weeks at a cost of $5.50 a week. So you have to do a little bit of math though. A check for the total cost of publication is to be written by John Can to Village News. So I went and put in the dates. I just guessed what the date might have been then, just because. But pay to the order of Village News. So the person that you're paying goes there, Village News Limited. The amount that you're paying in words is for the next line, $1,100. Or you could have said $1,100, but I put $1,100. And the figures go there for advertising services. Not all checks have that. And then it's signed John Can. So I think that for 4 marks, those pieces of information I filled there were probably what they looked for. So it's the date, the payee, the money in words, the money in figures, the purpose, and the signature. So that was that. So the third question now says, as the business expanded, customers' demands also increased. The team decided to obtain feedback from customers about the products offered and services received. So if you imagine that you're the customer service clerk, they want you to write 4 questions to be included in the questionnaire aimed at providing feedback to the company, 2 questions relating to the product and 2 to the services. So I just had some potential questions here. I put 3, dealing with the product. How satisfied are you with the selection of vegetable fillings we offer? Are there any new menu items you'd like to suggest? What's your favorite menu item and why? And based on service. Based on the service that you received, how likely would you be to recommend our restaurant to your friends and family? Do you ever feel that you wait too long to receive your order? What improvements, if any, could we make to our services to enhance your experience with us? For 4 marks, I didn't really know where they were going with that, probably just to understand that you understand what customer service would be interested in. So I thought those questions were okay. The 4th thing, after a few months of increased sales, Mr. Smith asked the marketing clerk to suggest promotional activities to better advertise the products and enhance the corporate image of the company. So if you were pretending to be the marketing clerk, they want you to outline 3 promotional activities that could be implemented. Okay, so for 6 whole marks, I put, in order to advertise our products and boost the image of the company, we could donate roti to a goodwill-based organization like an orphanage or a women's shelter. We could also host a tasting event at the restaurant and invite some vegetarian social influencers to review our menu for their audiences. We could also do a press release of an interview with our founders telling their story of what inspired them to start selling vegetarian roti. Because this paper really wants to see your reasoning more than anything else, I just wanted to get the answers of you could donate, you could host an event, you could do a press release, as things that are kind of like textbook ways, and also if you just use your imagination, that's stuff that people could do. I chose to put this thing about social influencers in because I just have this habit of anytime I can say something sort of tech-based, I like to do that, because I feel like that just, like if you picture, it's probably like an old person marking these papers, I figure that might wow them a little bit, so I like to do that wherever I can. Okay, this question was some customers are inquiring about the possibility of exporting goods to friends and family overseas. Smith & Ken invited the sales clerk to a meeting to discuss the documents required for shipping goods overseas. So assume you're the sales clerk, outline 3 reasons for sending a pro forma invoice to customers. Now, to be honest, I don't really understand what a pro forma invoice is so well from especially how the textbook had first explained it to me back when I was studying, but I can tell that it's an invoice that's sent ahead of time to whoever the receiver is going to be, and anybody who needed to know before you actually do the thing what was going to be sent could use it. So I said the 3 reasons for sending a pro forma invoice for shipping roti overseas could include making it possible for customs to determine the contents and the value of the package for applying taxes or fees, allowing the customer to understand the structure and pricing of their order, and allowing the customer to apply for any special food importing permissions that they may need. And I thought that might have been, close. And I feel like I couldn't have lost all 6 marks for that, so I went with what I could think of. And remember, this is the kind of thing that you could always come back and fill in if you have to jump from question to question, right? Don't think that you have to do it all in one go. And remember, you have like an hour and 45 minutes, I believe, to do this, so it's a little bit of time. I remember when I was doing it, I finished last, and there was still time to go. And I don't know, most people, I don't know if they passed, but they finished sooner than I did. Alright, so question 6 says, S&K Roti exported products to 3 Caribbean countries for the first time in the month of December 2020. A report illustrating the sales figures is required by management. So this graph shows the profits from the sales to the 3 countries for the month of December 2020. So if you take a look at it, I know some people aren't too good at reading these, but honestly, the title is Profit for the month of December 2020. The profit in dollars is going up the left side there, and it's clearly St. Lucia, Grenada, and Dominico. So the question they have about this is to determine the total profit made from sales in the 3 countries. So you just add up St. Lucia 2,000, Grenada 3,500, Dominico 1,500. And what I got when I did that was 7,000. So 3, yeah. So I couldn't believe how many marks, honestly, you get for doing just that, just reading off this graph. So I hope you're one of those people who can, in case graph stuff comes up, because if you can, those were easy marks to get. And so this next question, also related, was the company was required to pay a 10% export tax on all profits made outside of the country. So calculate the final profit that they made after deducting the export tax. So I hope you know how to find percentages, but if you don't, you will always have the calculator with you. It's allowed in this exam, so you just multiply whatever the number is by, if you want to do it the long way, you can multiply it by 0.10 to get 10%, and then subtract that. Or if you just want to figure it out one time, you could multiply 7,000 by 0.90, and whatever you get will be 90%, and that'll be the answer that you're looking for. If you didn't know that, you're welcome. And so this is question 7, which is actually the last one. Mega Food Supplies, based in Dominico, called to inform SNK Roti that it will be making a cash payment for goods ordered. So they want you to assume that you are Peterson Smith and to write a letter to Ms. Tiana Felix, the managing director of Mega Food Supplies in Dominico, and let her know 2 possible risks of sending cash by mail. Additionally, they want you to recommend 2 alternative methods of payment that could be considered. So how to write a letter. For one thing, her name isn't Tina, it's Tiana, but I missed that. Alright. The big deal that they're going to want you to look at here is to remember that if you're writing as a business, businesses have a letterhead. So I made this letterhead up for them. SNK Roti Shop Limited, 123 Restaurant Street, Port of Spain, Trinidad. Telephone number there. I put in their slogan because that's something that might be on the letterhead, and that's the one that I made up in the beginning anyway. So once you get past that, I feel like that's a huge part of the marks that they want here, to know if you know what a letterhead is and so on. You put the date, then you put their address. Mrs. Tina Felix. I screwed her name up, don't do that. I did not say that, that's a typo, but please don't do that. The managing director of Mega Food Supplies, 345 Factory Street, Russo Dominico. So that's the format, at least, even if I didn't get the name right. So you could come with Dear Mrs. Felix, because you know who you're writing to, or you could say Dear Ma'am, like Dear Sir Ma'am, but like Dear Ma'am. Okay, so this was the content that I put in now, and I think this is worth paying attention to. I could discuss it a little bit, but let's just read it now. Thank you for your recent order of our products. It was our pleasure to be able to supply your company's needs. However, with respect to your company's proposal to send us our payment via cash, we must politely decline this payment method. It appears to us that there is a great risk in sending such a large sum of cash by mail, as it could easily be lost or stolen. A further disadvantage is that there would be no verifiable record of payments being sent or received for either of our books. Indeed, we're certain that the post office would not even facilitate such a risky transaction. We would like to ask you to instead consider using either a bank transfer or to wire transfer us the payment. Please telephone our accounting office at the number on our letterhead, extension 123, for our banking details. We anticipate that either of these methods will be far more secure than cash. Thank you for your understanding in this matter. We look forward to hearing from you and hope to do business with you again in the near future. Yours sincerely, Peterson Smith. He would put his signature there. And then this is Mr. Peterson Smith, the director. So that was for 9 marks, and it took a little while to do, but it wasn't too bad. I figure mostly they wanted you to be able to get the format in here. So our address, the date, their address, their whoever, the body, the closing greeting, yours sincerely, and then you sign it, and then the person's position below, right? In terms of the actual answers to the question, the 2 reasons I chose were that cash could be lost or stolen, and there wouldn't be a record. The 2 alternatives I suggested were a bank transfer or wire transfer, and the rest I made up. I wanted to open by saying thank you for, say something positive, get down to the meat of it, then say something positive in the end, like a sandwich. So that's basically what I did there. It wasn't anything too special. If you don't really know about the letter thing yet, I have a video on that, which is kind of long, but if you skip through it, you should be able to see all the format, and that should take you where you're trying to be. Okay, so this says S&K Roti received the monthly bank statement from International Bank Trinidad and Tobago. Upon review, the accounts clerk recognized that the balance didn't agree with the records in the cash book. So assume that you or the accounts clerk advise the owners of 3 reasons why there might be discrepancies between the bank statement and the cash book. 3 marks. The cash book and bank statement balances are different. This could be because of timing differences, right? Such as late lodgements, which means deposits that are still processing. I just stuck that in so they would understand that I understand. Another reason could be bank-side only transactions that do not appear in the cash book, like bank fees or loan payments. One more possibility is that there may be fraudulent financial activity taking place somewhere in the company. So I thought that those reasons kind of covered everything. It could be late lodgements, it could be bank-side stuff, it could be fraudulent activity, it could be something like insufficient funds check, where you thought you received this payment, but the money wasn't actually in the person's account. So any one of those things. If you didn't really remember that, it's worth going back to take a look at, or you could just see these same answers here if that comes up. Okay, and that's the end of that. The total being 50 marks. So my goal with this was to show the people who asked, and I will try to go back and tag you, how this is, right? 50 marks, 7 questions, I believe is the standard thing. As you see, it starts with a case study and then asks you to go through all of these pretend scenarios to test your various skills, right? So we tested all kinds of things here. The application, understanding what the clerk does. We did some practical, like make an advertisement thing. They tested you on accounting in terms of check writing. They looked into customer service understanding. Some marketing stuff was in there. They talked about like shipping and dispatch business. Does seem to be some standard math in terms of taxes and reading graphs and stuff. And then this was like a test on letter writing and if you understand about payment methods. So I guess it's just intended to be kind of all around, but I would say it's nothing to be too concerned about or too afraid of. It's just like more paper 2 in a type of way. Worth 50 marks, so less intense than paper 2. But yeah, that's what it is. So I hope that this has helped to ease your mind in terms of what you're actually required to do, what they're going to ask of you. As always, if you have any questions, leave them down below, but I really hope that you understood and I was pretty clear in what I said here.